Ready? Here we go.
Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind, drown out the noise, and see if this connected. And see if this connected.
What's up, fam? The mission of this Connected podcast is to connect generations and situations about faith, life, and whatever comes along the way. To not necessarily agree, but be listened to. These conversations, of course, highlight the perspective of our various guests, and you are always welcome to agree or even disagree. But as always, we hope that it is done in charity. Now, here's your host, Catholic.Dad.
Thanks, Tony, again, for always doing that intro.
You're welcome.
And you're here.
I am here.
Is that on?
Yeah, I hope so.
Let's hope so. So we're on our next episode of this show in our new studio. And guess what? Anything different about this new studio?
There's McDonald's.
Yes, and we're not sponsored by McDonald's. But if you'd like to, we're open to being sponsored by McDonald's. But only if you are responsible with... I don't know. How responsible are they?
Well, no, it's perfect if McDonald's sponsors us because we're always about like giving donuts and coffee after mass.
Yes.
And guess what? They just launched the peelable donuts, and they're good, delicious. So
peelable donuts?
I don't know.
I don't know if that's actually healthy. But they also have the golden arches.
Pull apart donuts?
Oh, pull apart donuts. Pull apart donuts.
Yeah, you peel it like an apple or
like monkey bread.
It's going great.
So this is our awkward, cringy podcast.
We're out of practice.
We have been out of practice. We've been out for a few weeks, maybe a month or so, except for me when I had to. Because I wanted to. I wanted you guys to know that we are still alive. But for some of us, things have changed. For Tony, major change in your life. You are now...
I can't think of a witty comment. I'm married.
He is. Where's the bell? Dun, 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 dun. Yes. Producer Tony, the polo-wearing youth minister, who's not buttoned all the way to the top.
Does that bother you?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. It's like, it makes it seem like you're naked. Like how I feel right now. Because this is the first time with...
Yeah.
No beard. I am beardless. I feel like I need to put on a mask.
Mr. Potato Head?
I feel like Mr. Potato Head.
Without the mustache.
Without the stash. I did thought that, you know what? I was going to keep the mustache. But I look like...
I mustache ask you to keep it.
No, she said, take it off. But it's one of the traditions, Tony, that I actually do shave the entire beard and mustache after the end of 2 years of confirmation. So my students, my confirmands, have never seen me without a beard and mustache until today, today is their last class. So they'll get to see the bear.
What's the significance?
Nothing.
Cool.
It's like being nice to my wife one time every 2 years to shave the beard.
So she doesn't like it?
She hates it.
Bethany won't let me shave it. We just can't win.
Can't win. It's like she doesn't like hairy things. It's like she said, yeah, she likes baldy waldies.
Okay.
On that note of inappropriate statements, I am so sorry for being inappropriate with a hashtag trost for your wedding. That just came out. Don't know why.
So, fun fact for those that weren't at the wedding, or specifically the reception, Arnell did a final toast. We had, 4 toasts before him. and he kicked. All those people were warming up the audience for Catholic.Dad, and he stole the room. He stole the room more than the bride did. I have to say. And if you want to capture, I'm just kidding. If you want to capture, that's gonna get me in trouble here. If you want to capture that moment and watch that moment, it's on my YouTube channel, Tony Pimentel. And shout out to who recorded it.
Was
Josue
Marin.
Yeah. So
Mr. Josue Marin. He's the husband of Mrs. Josue Marin, Sarah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Shout out to him for actually capturing that, because we would have never known how cringy and inappropriate my roast toast was.
I remembered it. It was my molded in my head.
Yeah. But if you've ever read Song of Solomon's, it is very much a beautiful, beautiful book in the Bible, in the Old Testament. But, sometimes people look at it and it's like, what in the world is going on here? But it's very romantic. It's very true. Song of Solomon, poetic part of the Old Testament.
Well, as Father Mike would say, that's part of life. It's a demonstration of God's love for his people. So,
yes. Yeah. And after the wedding, Tony and Bethany went off to their honeymoon. So
did you know it's pronounced Hawaii?
Say that again.
It's pronounced Hawaii.
Hawaii? Isn't it Hawaii?
Nope. I think you're wrong. I was there.
It's
Hawaii.
It's Hawaii.
It's Hawaii.
It's like, I think it's Hawaii.
Well, you guys let us know in the comments who's right.
Is it Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii?
Hawaii.
I don't know. You're going to have to correct us on that.
There's like a weird, I don't know, is it a hyphen?
Umlaut?
I don't know. But like the way it's spelled over there is different.
Really?
That's what I learned. You know what I also learned?
What'd you learn?
I learned that here we have like pigeons and like near the beach areas, seagulls and stuff. They have chickens.
What?
Just walking, like they'll just walk up to you. Like we were having dinner outside, like one of the outside tables, and they're just like walking up, going, "Meow, meow, meow, meow." And like they're just driving. They'll just drive on the road, and like you have to stop the car because they won't get out all the road. Like they're like the rats of that area.
Like feral chickens.
That's just like a lot of them are roosters specifically, but
so that's so weird. So they don't have any pigeons.
No, they don't have, but they have a lot of different random birds, like small little ones, like little tropical birds that I don't know what they are, but they look cool.
Did you know as well that nothing is what would you say that in Hawaii there is nothing in Hawaii. There is nothing in Hawaii that is that originated from Hawaii. That everything that's there is brought there. So from the coconut trees to the chickens to all the flora and fauna, it didn't originate from there.
I also saw a coffee tree. It was a coffee tree. It's I'm serious. This is a serious
You've
thing.
never seen a coffee tree?
Not in person.
Like the beans grow on the sides and
it didn't have anything, but I think also because like they probably removed it to make the coffee that I was drinking every single morning.
Mm.
Yeah, but like it was like a legit thing. Like I saw the coffee roots,
Wow. So just as an added note, Catholic.Dad did grow up in the Philippines up to the age of 8. And when we went there, we do have coffee trees. And we plant coffee trees. And so in between coconut trees are usually coffee trees. And it's so cool because when you see coffee beans grow, they grow in clumps. And so when they pick coffee, the reason why when you see like coffee picked is people go there and pick only the ripest fruit. And that's how they base the flavor of the coffee or the grade of the coffee is whether or not you pick coffee that was still green, which is going to be bad coffee, or whether they're ripened on the tree. And that's why the best coffee in the world comes from those places where the bats or the monkeys eat them. and they poop them out. And so those really, really expensive coffee, I think you guys can Google this and research this, but they're actually picked from bat poop, and they pick them out because bats will only eat the most ripened bean.
You remember when we started this conversation, I was smiling? I'm not smiling anymore.
Because you love coffee. Bat coffee. So best flavored coffee is coffee that came out of a bat's butt.
My morning's ruined.
So why are we here? Aside from we haven't been podcasting for a while, and we have a new studio, and you're married, and I'm bald, and
Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head. Can you imagine that? It's like calling me Mr. Potato Head. It's so mean. But one of the things that we wanted to come up and have a conversation with our fam, that's you, fam, is we wanted to talk about certain things. One, the wedding, the honeymoon. How was it?
Oh, I thought you were listing them.
Yeah.
The topics.
No.
Oh,
I just wanted to ask how the honeymoon was. We've never been to Hawaii. Do you recommend it?
I do recommend it. Yeah. But from what I see, it's definitely more of a relaxation vacation. It's not. Well, I mean, I guess there is hiking stuff, and you could do like all the various activities on the ocean, but this guy doesn't swim, so none of those are on the table.
Wait, do you not swim because you don't know how to swim? Or
I don't know how to swim.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry. Wow, that's something we have in common. I can actually swim, but I swim like on the top and then gradually sink to the bottom.
Yeah, in a matter of 2 seconds.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I also don't know how to swim, and I'm from the islands.
It's like falling with style, but in the ocean.
And you were too proud to wear a floaty?
I just feel like especially like I don't know terms, but you know the thing where you're hanging by a rope from the boat.
Yeah.
And you're going.
Yeah, parasailing.
Yeah, like anything like that. Is that also the one where you're touching the water still?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like if I'm wearing a vest or something, what if that comes off? Or like even with the water coming, like that picture right there with all the waves, you know, like I'm still gonna get scared.
He points at an image of Jesus and the disciples in the rough water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's actually would be you. You just wake up Jesus and say, "Hey, there's a storm.
Where's Jesus?"
And Jesus would basically just say, "Tony, trust. You can walk on water too, especially when you have a life vest on."
Yeah, no, I'm good.
They don't come off. I guarantee you, they don't come off if you have the right size. So,
but Hawaii was fun.
what's your favorite part?
What was my favorite? Like the whole honeymoon was my favorite part. Favorite part of Hawaii.
The favorite part of Hawaii and the favorite part of the honeymoon. Except, don't talk about Song of Solomon in that part.
God, Lord help me. My favorite part was definitely Maui, and the reason why is because that was the island. That was the first island. That was the island that we actually rented a car, so we were able to travel around. And it kind of looked like Victorville at one point.
What?
Okay, so
you're not encouraging me to go because I've never been to Hawaii, and I've been telling my wife.
And you have been to the high desert, and you don't want to go back there.
And I don't want to be out there. That's how we met.
Okay, so like the outer rim of that island, from what I see or saw, that the greenery is around the ocean. So the outer rim is green, but the center of this one, because apparently they're in a drought, Maui. It's dry, so it's like a lot of just gray, and like the plants look dead. The trees are like without leaves. And like, oh, this is Victorville. So I felt like home. So that was, and I don't know. There's something about driving through it. You feel more a part of the experience. Mm-hmm. We also got to go up Twin Falls, which is a waterfall hike, like a mile. And then we also got to see, like, go through the Green Mountain. And it's just like you're straight driving through jungle. So, like, I got to see more of that. Where the other two islands we went to, we kind of just stayed at the hotel, the resort, because we didn't have a car to rent because it was, no expensive.
Rentals. What other two islands? Like Oahu
we went to Oahu and Kauai.
Garden State. Which one's the Garden State? I mean, the Garden Island.
Kauai.
Kauai.
Kauai, yeah, and that one's the one that we were rained on, so we literally were just stuck in the hotel because, like, literally everything is all outside activity. So the helicopter ride that we were supposed to go on was canceled. Any of those water activities that wasn't even something I was gonna do, but those were all canceled too because it's thunderstorms, like,
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We need to talk to Maria, my wife, and tell her, no, it's not worth it. Let's just go to the Philippines. She hates that because every time we go on vacation, it's like, let's go to the Philippines. Well, I want to go to Hawaii. It's like just like the Philippines, except it's cheaper.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are potentially going to Hawaii. Someone said that October was a good month to go because there were a lot of tourists and it's great weather, doesn't rain as much, and it was less expensive.
That's my birthday month. If you want to take me,
I don't think Maria would want unless Bethany goes. So maybe you guys can go. Maybe
that's true.
We can go as a.
Everyone loves her, and I'm just kind of like, eh.
So your experience of Hawaii is everyone was like, "Oh, you're so nice."
No, I just mean in general now that everyone just keeps talking about how cute and adorable Bethany is, and then I'm just like,
and then there's Tony.
It's just the guy.
See, that is actually a really huge compliment. I need to tell you, men, that when people compliment your girlfriend, your wife, and say, "Oh, look how nice she is, and look how beautiful she is," that is a huge compliment on the man. You know that, right? You know why, right?
No.
It's a huge compliment because for us men, that means that, man, we got picked by someone who is so much better than we are.
Oh yeah, I always take it as like she's like so amazing, and then why is she with you?
Yeah.
That's how I always take
like,
it.
Wow, I'm just super blessed. So that is actually a pseudo compliment of you. I'm like, when people say, "Wow, she's so nice," and why is she with Tony? I'm just kidding, Tony.
That's an exact quote by a certain priest.
Really? Oh yeah, that. And I know that priest, and I love that priest.
Some would say that he married us.
He did. He celebrated that ceremony. And by the way, you guys got an amazing gift, and I was so jealous. I was so jealous.
Which one?
That you guys were presented this one gift at your wedding.
Can you explain for the audience and maybe the groom as well? What was that?
You got a gift. You got a blessing from the Pope.
Yeah, but it wasn't signed by the Pope. So explain to me how this works.
So basically, it's presented to the Pope and says, "Okay, can you bless these two?" and give them a letter. And so he does. So I'm thinking that maybe that's a prayer that he said, and it's an official thing from the Pope. I don't know. But that thing was so cool.
You don't know.
I have no idea.
It looks very, very nice, and let's pretend that that's what it is. I'm not sure if that's what it is, but it's really nice. It looks beautiful. I'm going to put it in our studio. So
I think you should put it in your living room.
No, it's going to be on the
right next to your Last Supper.
Yeah. No, we're going to do it at the studio, so it's in the videos. That way everyone can appreciate it.
And be jealous.
Yeah. Yeah, be like, nah,
Yeah, he got one of those.
Yeah.
I don't think we got one of those.
I don't know what it is. It's just really cool, though.
We got 4 rice cookers. That's what we got.
Yeah, we have, like, the whole studio is just packed with gifts right now. Like, we can't
Any toasters?
No. Actually,
what's the world going to? Everyone got a toaster back in the day.
We already have a toaster though, so.
But that was like a common gift back in the day, a toaster. Anyway, so the real reason why we are on the podcast today is we wanted to talk about a little bit of something. Tony has been like posting galore about his wedding, and he commented on there that he was just going to just post. But the thing was, I was already posting all about them.
Well, I did specify post on the feed because I know as far as my story has been all filled with it, but just not on my feed yet. And Bethany, like throughout the honeymoon, she was just like, you gonna post something? I was like, I'm waiting till after the honeymoon. I want to enjoy the honeymoon, and then
I was really surprised. I was really surprised that 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 you posted while on your honeymoon, and I was also surprised that you didn't post as much on your honeymoon, because a lot of us who follow you guys were actually wanted to see what was going on. I mean, the events and things like that. But yeah, you guys hardly posted, and it was really nice
on the honeymoon
on
itself.
the honeymoon itself.
Yeah. I don't feel like there's a need to post every single moment, because then you start missing the actual moment.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, the honeymoon was for me and her. So
True. That's very true. And you also posted something a while back. You posted a question about something about what people post.
yeah, there was a story I posted a couple of I don't know, 3 weeks ago as of this recording, and it basically stated how often are you actually changed? How often does your mind actually change when seeing someone's post? Like, how often do you actually get your mind changed? And then I believe I had it like, I wonder if I could pull it up. All right, give me like 5 seconds.
1, 2, and that's also one of those things where the follow-up question to that is, as you said, how often is your mind changed by someone's post? And the follow-up question to that is, when you post, do you pray about what we post? And I have to say, I'm guilty at times that, you know what, I just post randomly because I just wanted to share something.
Oh yeah, here it is. Wait, sorry, just kidding. There it is.
Okay.
You have to hold it,
Well,
I think. It might just...
There. So your question was, and you're very curious, when you think back on your time on social media, how many times have you truly had your mind changed by someone's post, repost on a topic you're passionate about? And so it's how many times? Never, once, roughly 50% of the time, over 50% of the time.
And the
So-
results
And
was...
the results. Share with us the results.
Never was 20 people. Once was 6 people, roughly 50% of the time. 7 people, over 50% of the time. 0 people. And and obviously this is just a small little, like that's what, like less than 100 people right there. But the whole point is that what's the intent of why we're reposting someone else's post? Is it just really to say I'm right, you're wrong, or is it truly to enter in dialogue and to try to maybe hopefully change someone's mind for the good, like for an objective good? Or is it merely just self-gratifying ego of, what's right or wrong? Because even if, like, this is my opinion, tell me if I'm wrong, but even if they're posting something that's true in the eyes of the church, and God would be like, thumbs up, that's a good moral point of view. Like, even if you're posting something like that in a snarky way, merely for your own self-gratification, your own I'm right, you're wrong, is that still a good thing? I don't know. It doesn't make me feel well about it.
There are definitely posts that I can say with all honesty and objectivity that when I see people's stories and when I see people's posts, some posts capture my eye, and I look at it, and then I look at what information they have, or I click on the actual post and read about it. What's frustrating is when you have a post that's just an image and there's no caption, or there's nothing information, or nothing directing it to elsewhere, or even not an opinion. Because I can accept that hey, you post, that's your opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and then there are times where I've had to really discern: do I comment because I really want to, and where would my comment be taken? How would it be taken? Because a lot of times when you do comment on social media, there are a bunch of letters, and there's no you can't really read a person's passion and the direction where they're taking it because there's no intonation in text. And so many a time someone would reply back, and how do we read that? Do I read that as, oh, this person's being snarky, or this person is being gentle and kind and the way that they're having that conversation? And I can be honest that there are times where I've read something that's a response that was, my intention was to be kind and loving, and the response was nothing but not kind and not loving. And as human beings, we're taken aback with that, and our feelings get hurt. And then I post like a little tear emoji.
Just yesterday, it just kind of came into the conversation. It wasn't intent it was about the ascension, but we ended up getting on a little rant in our small group about posting and stuff. And I think they didn't know what's the proper way to start maybe a emotionally triggering conversation, or how to start it. And I said, well, this is my thoughts. As soon as you see someone post something that you disagree with, the first question needs to be in your heart, why? And more specifically, what is their stance on the issue? When I see things, especially on Instagram stories specifically, it's always just like, this is the opinion. But like, why? Like, what made you think that? Why do you think that? There's more to just one sentence story, right? And people just see that, and like you said, don't even read the caption. There's no further information. I see this post, I'm going to respond back, you're wrong. And there's no why, there's no dialogue there.
Or reading the background of that story, where that person is coming from, or whether or not that person even understands what they are saying. And sometimes we reply back, or do we actually understand what the teaching of the church is on that? And how do we respond in love? And I can say that I've made mistakes before and made errors in responding. Then there's always that time where you really are passionate and you want to respond, and you start texting it and
do the backspace,
and then backspace and backspace, and then go at it again, and then backspace and then go at it again, and then eventually just delete, because that's when the Holy Spirit is acting on you and says you're acting on this on emotion.
Can I share a story? I don't think this person watches, so this should be fun. But there was one story, like 2 months ago. I still keep thinking about it, and the person oh, I know, it was Ash Wednesday. It was on Ash Wednesday, where you just see a lot of people like, I didn't even know you're a Catholic. Here you are posting today. But that's my own. But anyway, there's this one person who is a catechist at a church. I'm not gonna say which one, but she posted the ashes on her forehead, and then just flipping off the screen and say, yeah, I'm Catholic. And I'm like, I commented and I said, I DM'd her and I said, maybe that will be perceived differently to people by posting this. And her response was, and this is kind of my fault for not being clear, but her response was, "Oh, I don't care what people think of me," and but it's not about you. It's about you're stating you're Catholic, and you're putting out something that wouldn't demonstrate a good Christian. And I didn't say any of it because I was like, I don't want to enter in this and then get really worked up and have to go through the backspace, emotions that come with that. And I just said, okay. And I still think about that because I feel like I failed in that moment.
You feel like it's one of those things where I should have responded in kind.
Mm-hmm.
It says, hey, maybe we can have a cup of coffee and really discuss this, because I really love you. I really love you as a human being, as a child of God, and we need to have this conversation. And I think that's what's missing. I think if you've ever had a DM from me, it's because I didn't want to reply directly on a post because I know you, and that wouldn't be kind to do correction there. But I think when someone does DM you after a post, and say, I read your post, which is a compliment because not everyone gets to read everyone's post. But I took the time to read your post and I really reflected on it. And I really prayed upon, replying to you. And I'm replying to you in this way. This is how I perceived it. And if I perceived it this way, then maybe other people perceived it similarly. And maybe, it's an opportunity for correction. And it's good. Our church calls us to correct each other. And I know I'm bad with that because people say you shouldn't be correcting priests.
Going back to the story of the one that's my story about the change in the mind, I got a response from that. And I actually got a few responses. And I just thought it was interesting because it was from people that I didn't even think they still follow me. Like, I never see them on my feed. They don't interact with me. But anyway, one of them was a very sweet former teen. And his basic point, I'm going to paraphrase, but his basic point is when he posts things that may be perceived as controversial or just stating his point is to inform his side of the story to others that disagree with it. And again, I want to believe that is true for most people. But I think it comes down to, if you truly want to inform and try to change someone's mind for good, I want to emphasize for moral good, there needs to be, I don't know how to word it, an ounce of humility in the post. Like, it's just, I see like these snappy, it's just worded snarky, and I wish I could pull out an example from my memory, but I can't. But it's just like very like, this is correct, you're dumb. Basically, it should just say you're an idiot for thinking the other side of it, right? Because that's what the posts, a lot of these posts just come across all.
Yeah. I think also when people post and when we post, we are preaching to the choir. We're preaching to our choir. We're preaching to our side, and just looking for affirmation. I want you to agree with me. I want you to affirm me that what I'm doing is right, and we're looking for we're looking for, not saying that we're looking for attention, but as human beings, as created children of God, as creatures, we seek that gratification of you're important, you're loved, and in a world that is run through social media, we get a lot of that affirmation by the number of likes we have, the number of hits we have, and the number of reposts or retweets that we have. It gives us a sense of value. That's my take on that. It gives us a sense of who we are, a sense of importance, and back in the day, a sense of popularity. But is that the reason why we should post? And again, as the person you cited, it's to inform, but what kind of information are we putting out? And so it's a challenge of responsibility. Are we truly putting out there things that that are informing truth, or are we putting out there things to inform on opinions? And the hazards of just randomly posting can trigger someone to act on something that is not good. One of the things I wanted to share is there's a person that I do follow, and it's okay. I don't think that person watches anyways. But I follow this person because this person has great things to say. This person, I repost a lot of her things, and very talented, Catholic famous. But there are times where I'm triggered by things that she'll post, because it'll show, her humanity, because she is. But it shows, sometimes I feel like, well, that's not the kindest thing to do. It would be like, something that you would write to me, saying that you don't like something that I say, and then I repost it and say to the people who follow us, and say, look at what this person said.
And you have a lot more followers than I do, so they would be reached by a lot more people.
Well, I don't know about that, but that would mean that wow, those people. Am I saying that? Look at this person who's saying not so nice things about me, it's back to the playground again, because I was a bullied child, where someone who's popular says, "Oh, don't go play with Arnell. He's a loser." And all of a sudden, all the people in the playground doesn't want to play with you because, the popular kid said, "You're a loser." And, and sometimes people say the wrong things. And again, we can't put, text words are not said words. And so what is that person actually saying? And did you have dialogue with that person? So I just don't like it. And this is my personal opinion. I don't like it. I mean, if that's your boat and that's what you want to do, hey, good for you. But I just don't think that we should be reposting someone who says something to you, even if it's in public. If you're that person who is out there, Catholic famous, and someone says to you and says, "Look what this person said," well, that person's going to read it, and that person's either going to get hurt because it was misinterpreted, or there's going to be someone who reads what that person said and say, "That is something like I felt that." And it invalidates their thought, and it starts to say, "Well, why would you say that to that person? That's that's not the nicest thing to say or to do."
Well, I mean, it's a very Spider-Man.
I love your
Yeah, it's a very Spider-Man story here. With great power comes great responsibility, and if you have this much influence,
So is that Uncle Ben or Aunt May?
that is Uncle Ben all the way. Aunt May did not deliver that line very well.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, if you're Catholic famous, quote, but you obviously have a far more greater influence, and what you're going to say is going to impact people far more. And that's kind of, especially if you're a Catholic speaker, I mean, that's your profession, and that's what people are going to view you as. And whatever you say is now Catholic opinion, right? I'm sure that's what the priests are taught as well, right? As soon as you're a priest now, anything that you say is going to be viewed as Catholic opinion. And I don't know. I mean, I think that means you're far more accountable to what you're saying morally.
Yeah.
So that's also something that, needs to be considered and prayed with before posting. Because that's just...
it's difficult. It also comes there where we come into this cancel culture. I don't think I've ever canceled anyone. Even if they don't like me or they said bad things, because I just think that when you cancel someone, it closes the conversation, it closes the dialogue. Even if it's a person that you don't like, I just cringe at saying, I just cancel them, because there are many times in my life that a person who I didn't agree with ended up agreeing with me later on, and I don't think we'd ever have that opportunity if I turned off that line of communication. There's this person who I've never met. It's not you. It's some young man from Canada who's really was looking at, disproving the Catholic Church. And yesterday, he DMs and says, I'm really finding out the truth that the Jesus Christ founded the church. And that is a conversation that I could have turned off a long time ago, because it was really draining to have that conversation with someone that you can't have a true dialogue about. But this person was open to listening, as much as I think what people do on DM listening is posting and posting and posting. Sometimes I don't think the person is reading, but eventually I think they do. So I think keeping that person on that conversation, that person comes back, brings about what we are called to do, as St. Paul went about and kept writing back to the cities, Corinth and Ephesus. He came and kept open all those conversations, even though he moved on to another church, another city, and moved on to Rome. But I just think that, as you said in our conversation, that when we post even our opinions, we need to go into prayer about what we're going to post. And I think that's wise words to do. But again, when these posts, when we see things, we are like, what the heck? And our passions kick in and we want to respond. And we want to respond immediately because we want to be seen as someone who is being an ally, someone who's being responsible. Yesterday, I was asked, how come I'm not posting about an issue that's going on? Because they look at your story and say, how come you're not posting on it? And my answer is, well, I don't feel I need to. I think there's enough people posting out there that I don't think that's something that I need to. I've been praying about it, and it's hard because the issues are so heavy. But trauma being what it is, I think people get re-traumatized by seeing all these images and things of the devil. And then you post something which is I couldn't figure out. It was a wagon. I was like, what the heck is that? And then you come over today and you're explaining it to me. I was like, oh, I hate it when you're wiser than me. It's like that totally made sense. Okay.
I'm definitely not wiser than you.
I got it. I get it. I didn't get it.
I'm not
But
wiser.
love the bandwagon thing. Oh, and true. We didn't jump on the bandwagon.
Well,
And that's
again-
okay.
Again, why? The question, why? Ask yourself every time you post something, why? See how much different your post will look.
There are times, though, where I've reposted something to get a recorrection. Because I've seen someone post something and I ask a question, hey, what's the story? What's the background story on this? And they didn't respond. And so I reposted it and gave the background story to it so that people can open up in dialogue. And, when we tag things, we tag people or we hashtag it. I do believe that if we are not preaching just only to the people who agree with us, I think we should hashtag the opposite sides so that they can respond. And when they respond, we should react to it the way that we are supposed to as Christians, to be loving and kind and listen. My mom was a great listener, annoyingly so. And I think we can learn a lot from the wisdom of mothers who listen more and speak less. Listen to what they're actually saying. And on the last note for me, I used to wait tables, and there was this really, really cool waitress. And this was her response to something when people would say things that were just like weird and wild. She would say, so what are you trying to say? It is like sometimes it was snarky, but the person would come out and try to explain it, and she would just reply back, so what are you trying to say? And she would just repeat that over and over again. So what are you trying to say? And either they would clarify themselves or they would just give up. And then she would just move on. I'm like, that's one way of really clarifying what it is that you want to say. And sometimes maybe that's what we should do when we post is ask ourselves, so what are you trying to say?
Right.
What are you trying to say? And after you come up with an answer, this is what I'm trying to say, ask yourself again, so what are you trying to say? And when we come up with an answer to that and ask ourselves again, so what are you really trying to say? Are you trying to convince the person that they're wrong? Or are you trying to state an opinion of your thoughts or whatever it is? But say it. This is what I'm trying to say. And then be open and accepting of either the condemnation of others or or being open to having that dialogue. And when someone posts something and is snarky and condemning, I always say make sure that you message that person directly and say, "So what are you trying to say?" And put on that little emoji, a heart emoji, and say, "This is being said in this way, lovingly. What are you trying to say?" Instead of going on this long conversation, this Twitter war that people get into back and forth. And it's like, it's exhausting to read those. But some people feed off of those. I'm not much on a Twitter person because it is exhausting. I think majority of the tweets out there are very negative. Um, I think most of them are. Not
I
all
got
of them.
off Twitter a couple of years back because it's not conducive of actual conversation.
It was draining.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's all I have to say.
I think when it comes to controversial topics, and every time there's the new story, the new political blah 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 blah, and you want to post, I think I repeat this a lot, but I think it's important to remember people are not going to care about how much you know until they know how much you care, and that's what you need to know, that they're not going to agree with you just because you are shouting the loudest. People are going to be open to hearing your side if they genuinely feel like they're cared for and you want the best for them. Because if you're posting for that desire to show that this is the right side, this is what you should believe in, the other person has to know that you actually want their good. And if they don't, I think that's just more going to be they're going to be closed off.
Yeah. Let me share something with you, fam. And someone said to me, I want to share with you that if we were more controversial in our topics, maybe we would get more listeners. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, well, that's not us, because that wouldn't be this connected. That would
Wait,
be
us?
Yeah, like the show. They said if we were more far right, or even if we were far left,
Yeah.
then we would get more, because people crave on passion, on human emotion, and apparently we don't get your emotions up.
Well, not only that, but you would only get, goes back to the same thing, the thing that you commonly probably see too, the listeners, that if you disagree with me, unfollow me, unfriend me, right? You only get a group of people that think like you. That doesn't invoke thought like that. That doesn't that. You would just have a group of people that think like you. So
yeah, and I don't crave disagreement. I'm generally not a person who likes confrontation. So I stay away from confrontation, and I really didn't want to rename our podcast Disconnected with a DIS, so that we would disrespect you or hopefully we don't ever do that. So it's always going to be Disconnected. And our logo has a new face.
Wait, is that going to be a thing?
That's going to be a thing.
Oh gosh.
Except I got to grow the beard back.
Yeah.
I feel naked.
Yeah, I'm not
a fan.
I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan. So for my new class of confirmands and confirmation, if you're signing up at St. Mary's Catholic Church, June 15th is the day to register. Hopefully I will have kind of a beard by then. It's in a few weeks. I'll be growing a beard again.
Yeah, and if you're 18 to 39, we have Surrender Young Adult Ministry at St. Oscar Romero in Eastville.
And adoration is every
first Thursday at 7 at the parish office.
We will be there.
Yeah.
We will be there. So on that note, do we have any other announcements? Any other news?
No, I think that was...
I think our next episode, I will be there. You will not. Interviewing a lady who is undergoing... I think she has stage 4 cancer. And she is probably the most positive person that I've seen going through. I've seen a lot of people who are going through end stage life, and you would never know that they're going through a stage in their life where they're so close to death, because they're so positive. And I just want to get her on the show because I want to learn that. I want to see what makes a person be like that versus a person who is like woe is me, and blame God instead of appreciating God for everything that she's been blessed with. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be another one, and we have a couple of other people who are going to come on the show regarding controversial topics that are going on in the Catholic Church and in the world.
And hopefully this connects.
Hopefully this connects. THIS. I wish those two things didn't sound so alike. So hopefully this connects and you'll learn something from that. So on that note,
I have one final sneak peek because I think this is going to come out around the same time. I am starting a show too, so you should come subscribe to my channel. I won't say anything beyond that, but subscribe to my channel, Tony Pimentel. It's always in the bottom of the description of these episodes.
Yes, on the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes. Make sure you follow. So on that note, fam, we haven't been doing this for a while, so we don't know how to actually end it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please email us at catholic.dad50@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at catholic.dad and at minitangled. And also following us on YouTube at Tony Pimentel, at Disconnected.
Podcast.
The podcast. Yeah. Podcast.
Disconnected
Podcast. You'll find us there. We're also on Facebook. There's a Facebook page somewhere that says Disconnected Podcast.
It doesn't get updated.
It doesn't get updated. Sorry about that. We're lazy. And again, if you want to come on the show, if you have topics that you want to come on, DM us. Tell us what you want to talk about, what you want to hear, and we'll surely try to get to it. And so, also, if you want to support the podcast, I always keep forgetting about this. If you want to support the podcast, go on our bio, go on our Patreon page, be a patron, get some really cool goodies for as low as $1. You can help support the podcast. I also need to share this. I had a young man who is going to be a netter. And so if you want to support him, go to one of our previous episodes. I think it's either episode 124 and see how you can support Miguel Alvarez. He could use your help to go out and evangelize through net. He'll be gone for 1 year, taking time away from his life to go and serve the Lord in other parish communities throughout the United States. So that's my announcement. So how do we end this?
Thank you for watching.
And as always,
we'll be praying for you.
Please pray for us. Live a life of holiness.
Be blessed.
And be third.
Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise of different generations of the girls and boys. So sit back and relax. This is Catholic Podcast. Don't overreact if these thoughts are abstract. When it's hosted by Catholic.dad, who knows what's gonna happen?
Hey, what's up, fam?
Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise and see if this connected.
What's up, fam? To connect generations and situations about faith, life, and whatever comes along the way.
Expect runaway thoughts like a runaway train. Break into conversation like links of a chain. Make a Hail Mary pass, hope this connects. Have a question for a guest, put it to rest. Live a life of holiness, lead by example. Follow at Catholic.dad and minitangled. Christ leads our way, he's the good shepherd. Pray for one another, be blessed, and be third. Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise and see if this connected.
Hello, how awkward we get. Alright.
Did you know this is like the thing that they do when they're driving? They just go like this. You know, like we kind of do like that, or we'll do this to thank people, other drivers. They go like this.
Hang loose.
Yeah, but that's all they do.